The first time Mark ever begged his ex-wife for anything, it was not money or forgiveness. It was far simpler and somehow much harder. "Just for tonight," he said quietly, standing in the narrow hallway of her apartment. "Pretend you still love me." Laura froze with her keys in hand. 5 years had passed since the divorce. 5 years of careful distance, of polite exchanges during school drop-offs, of pretending the other no longer mattered. Now Mark stood there with tired eyes and a jacket that was too thin for the cold, asking her to step back into a lie they had both sworn never to touch again. "This is about Emily, isn't it?" Laura said. Mark nodded. Their daughter was 10 and painfully perceptive. She had noticed the whispers at school, the way other parents dressed nicer, spoke softer, lived easier. Emily's class was hosting a family night at a high-end hotel. Parents, guardians, and special guests were invited. Emily had begged him not to come alone again. "She keeps asking why we couldn't just try harder," Mark said. "I don't know how to answer that." Laura looked past him, as if she could see the past waiting in the living room. She should have said no. She knew it. But when she saw his hand shake, she sighed. "Fine," she said. "One night. Nothing more." Mark thanked her like she had saved his life. What Mark did not know was that someone else had already noticed him. Earlier that day, at the office, Mark had been called into a meeting with the CEO. He worked as a facilities manager at a technology firm. Invisible work, long hours, little recognition. The CEO, Evelyn Hart, was a woman most employees only knew through emails and quarterly speeches. When Mark walked in, he expected a complaint. Instead, Evelyn asked him to sit. "I see you leave later than anyone," she said. "And you never use vacation days." Mark shrugged. "Someone has to keep the lights on." Evelyn smiled, but her eyes stayed thoughtful. "Who keeps your lights on, Mark?" He did not answer. He did not think it mattered. That evening, at the hotel ballroom, Mark felt completely out of place. The room glowed with soft lights and expensive laughter. Laura slipped her arm through his, playing the role perfectly. Emily beamed when she saw them together. "Mom came," she whispered, hugging them both. "I knew she would." For a few hours, Mark almost believed the lie himself. They laughed at old stories. They danced once. Laura rested her head on his shoulder, just long enough for him to remember why he had fallen in love with her in the first place. Then he saw her. Evelyn Hart stood near the back of the room, dressed simply, observing everything. She was not supposed to be there. This was a school event. A private one. Their eyes met, and Mark felt a rush of embarrassment. He imagined what this must look like. A struggling employee pretending his life had not fallen apart. Later, Laura stepped away to take a call. Mark stood alone, watching Emily laugh with her friends. Evelyn approached him. "You clean up well," she said gently. "I can explain," Mark began. "I am not here to judge," Evelyn said. "I am here because my niece goes to this school. And because I noticed something earlier." She nodded toward Emily. "She looks happy." Mark swallowed. "She deserves that. Even if it's fake." Evelyn studied him for a long moment. "Is it fake," she asked, "or unfinished?" Mark did not know how to answer. At the end of the night, Laura pulled him aside. Her eyes were glossy. "I forgot how easy it was with you," she said. "That scares me." "It scares me too," Mark admitted. They did not make promises. They hugged. They let go. The next morning, Mark was called into Evelyn's office again. This time, she offered him coffee. "I have watched you for months," she said. "Not just your work. Your character." She slid a folder across the desk. Inside was an offer. A new role. Better pay. Flexible hours. "Why?" Mark asked. "Because kindness like yours is rare," Evelyn said. "And because I once begged someone to pretend they still loved me too." Mark looked up, surprised. I was not brave enough to ask for real love after that, Evelyn continued. You are. Weeks passed. Mark and Laura began talking again, slowly, honestly. No pretending this time. Emily noticed the difference. It was quieter, but stronger. One evening, as Mark locked up the office, he saw Evelyn waiting by the elevator. Dinner, she asked. No pretending. Mark smiled. For the first time in years, it felt like the future was not something he had to beg for.